phenomenal. It felt, I'm trying to figure out why I kept thinking about Wakanda. Hey, welcome back to my channel. So it's Melissa here with another video. You read from the title, you already know what we're going to be discussing, Coming to America 2. If you haven't already, before we get started with that, make sure that you hit the like button on this video. Make sure you just subscribe and hit the notification bell. So anyway, Coming to America 2, my ultimate reaction. First of all, I just want it to be known that I am not biased in any sense. A movie typically has about 3 to 5 minutes to keep my attention. I have a very short attention span when it comes to movies. Songs, the intro. If the intro is too long, I'm out of there. If it's unless it's a bumping intro. But other than that, a movie has a good 3 to 5 minutes before I'm out of there. I'm either turning it or I'm going to fall asleep if it's in the movie theater. And I must tell you, first and foremost, Coming to America did not disappoint. And I'll go by what was not disappointing, and then I'll try to find something that I didn't like about it. But there wasn't anything that I didn't like about it, and I'm gonna try not to give spoilers. If I do, then I'll just put it in the title that I gave away some spoilers. So anyway, first of all, it's Coming to America. Here we are 31 years later, and we have the sequel. And in most sequels, it's very hard to come out with a movie to come out with a movie that is going to support or be just as good as the original. So I must tell you, when I heard that this sequel was happening, I was not encouraged. I was not like, oh, this is going to be good, because I just figured they were just going to mess it up, because the first one is kind of like a fan favorite. If you love it or you hated it. And growing up, I guess we were like in high school, junior high, when Coming to America 1 came out, and it was everything. Like, I want to say we were in high school, because I remember, doing the quotes and everything, quoting the movie and everything, being in high school, and it was just the rave. And it was good to see Eddie Murphy and the different characters and everything. So to think that they were going to attempt to do a 2 was like, okay, now 1 was good, leave it alone. So let's jump right into it. What did I think? First of all, I don't know where this was filmed, but set location was on point. You thought you were in Africa when they were in Africa, and I do believe they filmed in New York when they were in New York. I did read an article stating that they used Rick Ross's home. I'm telling you, it felt like you were in Zamunda. It was absolutely amazing. The scenery, it just looked like you were in a jungle. There was a lot of nods to the first movie, which was completely amazing. And then there were some aspects of the new movie that was just it was just so nostalgic. And I think that that's what, America needs, let alone Black America needs, just something to feel good. And this was a really feel good movie. I laughed from the beginning to the very end. And that's, again, I mean, I have a really, healthy sense of humor, I think. But at the same time, if it's not funny, I'm not going to laugh. It was great. So the surprise was that Amazon Prime dropped the movie earlier. It was supposed to drop today, and they dropped it last night. Popped me some popcorn, put it on the projector, and we listened. We did it, and it was hilarious. So I cannot express enough to you about the Black pride in the hair. Leslie Jones called it the costumes, but I'm not going to say those aren't costumes. I won't be disrespectful to the African culture and say that their garb, their traditional garb, their dress is a costume. It might have been a costume for her as far as her being in this movie, but I'm telling you, the wardrobe was 100%. I don't know who was over wardrobe, but they did an excellent job portraying the African culture as well as the American culture, because we had this split before Hakeem went back to Queens to look for his son, that, they had the African culture as well as the American culture. And I must tell you, it was phenomenal. I'm trying to figure out why I kept thinking about Wakanda, right? And so we know that Wakanda is not a real place, and we know that a lot of the sci-fi stuff of Wakanda it kind of validated or supported or gave us a twist to Wakanda. It was like, okay, y'all got Wakanda. Now let me give you Zamunda. And it was absolutely that. I was so reminded throughout this movie of Wakanda and Black Panther and everything, and not in a comparison way, but in a supportive way. I don't really, I think that's the best way, if that makes sense. Like, it felt like it was like its cousin. It was like it's alternative, but also like it was just Black excellence, relatable, in a reality, in the sense of, we know Wakanda was imagined and, not a real thing, but then we have Zamunda, and it's like, wow, that really is how some African royals live. Like, we have African royals and royalty, and to make that connection to Queens, and it was just amazing. And to see, like I said, the wardrobe from what Eddie Murphy's daughters in the movie, which one of his daughters did play, it's the middle daughter, is this actual blood daughter. And he talks about her auditioning for the part. But anyway, it was rich, it was classy, it was sophisticated, it was well thought out. Wardrobe 100%. And there was some symbolism of things that I caught that I was trying to write down what it meant. There was something called democracy or something like that. One of his daughters, in one scene, she had these armbands on her arm, and she had some words. It was a word written on it, and I couldn't catch it, but I'm gonna catch it. I'm gonna watch it again because I've already watched it 2 times since last night. So, the nose rings. It was just like, that's what it is. It was freeing. It was unapologetically Black style in a safe setting. And if you don't know the significance of that, if you know, you know. That's all I got to say. They wore it with pride. The nose rings, the jewelry was amazing. Now let's get to the hairstyles. Shout out to wardrobe and hairstyles. I'm telling you, every scene I was like, ooh, either I wanted the outfit or I wanted my hair the way that was, or I have worn my hair that way. So I guess what I'm saying is, yes, Wakanda was Wakanda, but when you saw Coming to America, there was an identity. That's what it is. I identified with so much that was in that movie, because it represented me. I saw me represented in the movie, and we really, 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 in a realistic and a positive way, don't always see ourselves depicted in our hairstyles depicted in a positive way. If there's a hairstyle like that, it's on Ghetto Girl in scene 2, but these hairstyles were just validated, whether it was the Bantu locks, the sister locks, the regular locks, the butterfly locks, the braids, the mohawk. Listen, I can go on and on about style and wardrobe and jewelry in this movie. I am an accessory person, and I'm telling you, it was A1 on point. I wanted every crown. I wanted every piece of jewelry. I wanted every piece of nose ring. My nose isn't even pierced, but I was going to pierce it that day. But like I said, it was an identity. I was able to identify with them, and not just the females, like the males were top notch. Now, there is a scene where the son, he comes from Queens, and of course he's sagging, and I'm like, well, pull your pants up, But by the end of the movie, of course, he becomes refined, and he is still remains who he is and true to who he is. It was nice seeing the Timbs. It was nice seeing him walking in the Timbs. It was nice seeing him with his swag and in Africa, So it was just a great nod to who we are as a people and the culture that a lot of people try to appropriate and also try to cancel or make it be a bad thing. But in this movie, it was celebrated from the beginning to the absolute end. Awesome. The representation was absolutely awesome. It was also a great storyline. Although along the way, you kind of figured, okay, I already know what's going to happen, but it wasn't so obvious because there was so much woven in between that took you to like, oh, I didn't see that coming. You didn't see it coming, but you knew. So for an example, the young man, and I don't know, I've seen this movie 3 times and don't remember the son's name, but anyway, Hakeem's son, the prince, when he gets to Zamunda, he obviously gets a maiden to wait on him or whatever. With their connection, you knew, okay, he's going to fall in love with her. Fine. Even though you knew that, it wasn't obvious and it wasn't pushed on you to the point where they didn't let it flow naturally. And then you're like, when it finally happens, you're like, oh, well, we knew that. Like you knew it, but it wasn't obvious, or it was well written, and it was directed very well. This movie was so good to the point where I was like, okay, who directed this? And the person that directed this one did not direct the first one. The writing was good. The acting was good. Let's talk about the acting. So the acting was very good. When you are coming on the heels of a Tyler Perry, which I feel like a lot of his actors, I don't know if it's Tyler Perry's writing or if it's his actors, but it just drags on. And unfortunately, a lot of times it's just terrible acting to me, my opinion. But just like anybody else, I do watch Tyler Perry movies. I watch his series and everything else, but I am yelling at the television like, oh my gosh, why is this scene taking so long? Or why are we doing four scenes? Not this movie. This movie was action packed in the sense of it moved, it flowed very well. And again, if it kept my attention from the beginning to the very end, I didn't pick up my phone, start tweeting. Like I didn't do any of that. The only time I picked up my phone was to update Facebook and say, yep, it's really good. Other than that, I was glued to the projector, watching. Back to the acting and the storyline. One good, and I don't want to ruin it, but if you've already watched it, then you watched it. But anyway, throughout the entire movie, there were so many cameos from unexpected people. There, anybody and everybody in a random way is in this movie, and it fits. It's not like, I mean, you had Gladys Knight, you had Salt and Pepper. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna go into it too much, but Tiana Taylor played the heck out of her part. And they made these cameos and they fit where they came in the movie. It fit, and it was I don't want to give it away because everything from Gladys Knight's song, and she would change the song, the lyrics, like we were cracking up. It was so good. It was a good plot. It typical story where Eddie Murphy had to be reminded of how he was when he was a prince. You also had the girl power situation where with the outdated laws of there must be a male heir to the throne, that was addressed. Feminism. One thing that I was really, really surprised, and don't at me, leave a comment down below. One of the things that I was really skeptical about is when I found out that Leslie Jones was in this movie. Disclaimer, I love Leslie, but I feel like she has been typecast to play a certain role. Spooky black girl, that whole thing. Black woman with attitude, that. And I was so concerned that she was going to mess up the movie. So I was like, Leslie is going to mess this up because, unfortunately, in my opinion, when you have these characters that they want black women to play, the angry black women, think of Tiffany Haddish. When she's in that role, it's so overpowering to what the message is. And your focus is on her and not the whole cast and what the movie is doing. And I kind of felt like that's what they were going to tell Leslie to do, to just do that black woman thing. Well, to my surprise, that's not what happened. She played the heck out of that role. First of all, yes, she was the mom in Queens, and she was the prince's mom. And they go through and they show us how they conceived the son. Now, one thing for me and my cousin, we were watching, and I was like, okay, so we're not going to do a DNA test. We're just going to go by what Simeon said happened in the story or whatever, because there was a flashback, and it was a flashback to a part that we didn't see in the movie and Coming to America 1. So it was a bit disturbing in a sense, if you're a fact person and if you're a fact finder and you're like, okay, so you're just not going to do a DNA test. Okay, fine. But that was hard to kind of get over, but she was not so ghetto or overbearing or loud or any uncouth and unrefined, right? That's not what it was. She was a woman in Queens. And when she went to the palace, of course, I think any of us, if we are suddenly inundated in that role, in the sense of, I am now the mother of a prince and I am in Africa, and they're sitting on golden toilets. She acted the way we all typically would react. She was not uncouth. It wasn't embarrassing in that sense, but she was overwhelmed and very excited about her role. It was fun to see her and Lisa end up being friends. And again, I just thought that the movie was a really feel good movie. That's what it was. You know, I didn't go in expecting this miraculous plot and this amazing, summary to happen, but I did. I was very much surprised by the costumes, the representation with the hair. I don't know why I was surprised. Maybe because I just thought everybody was just gonna have shaved head like they always do. It's either braids or shaved heads. There's no in between. And there was in between in this movie. Like you saw culture. Every scene that they had, you were telling someone, okay, outfit, like you were here for the outfits. Every scene that happened, whether it was from his little girl that portrayed his little girl in the movie, all the way to the old person. And there was a fun surprise from this shaman soothsayer type person that was there. Eddie definitely plays several different characters. Sexual Chocolate did not say Sexual Chocolate. That's one thing, but he did make an appearance. The preacher made an appearance. And, overall, I think for me, it just really felt good. And, if you have been anywhere near politics, and especially in the middle of this crap with the cancel Dr. Seuss and all this other stuff that people are assuming is happening, which will be my next video. After this one, I'm going to record that one because I've had enough. You're just like over it. And I think that we're all seeking for feel good movies, number one, that represent Black people in a positive way, in a most excellent way. The cast was absolutely amazing. And they did an excellent job directing, editing. Like, it was just amazing. Like, it was really, really amazing. So if you haven't already watched the movie, make sure you watch it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about it once you watch it. If you did watch it, let me know if you agree with my points. Let me know how it made you feel. Because I know, like I said, for me, it was a really good, feel-good movie. With that being said, I honestly can't think of anything that I didn't like about the movie, other than the fact that they didn't give the boy a DNA test. And if there was something that I just had to pick out, the African accents weren't pronounced, but they also weren't studied. So it wasn't like they were as good as they were going to get. Like, it was not a lot of nudity. Actually, there wasn't any nudity. Other than that, I really, really, really enjoyed the movie. And so with that being said, as always, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.